Hello class, my name is Travis Knapp and I'm going to be going over this discussion post for the learning process for Aviation 401. The prompt I'm going to be using is to explain and relate Maslow's hierarchy of needs to your own personal life experience. I took this to mean my flight training experience, so I'm going to talk a little bit about how I progressed through Maslow's hierarchy of needs while going through my flight training. So here's just this is from the Aviation Instructor's Handbook. It's the Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs pyramid. And so a quick synopsis of Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs is that it is a system in where you cannot achieve the next rung in the hierarchy until you have mastered the one prior to it. So for instance, you're not going to be able to begin working on safety and security until you have your physiological needs met. You're not worried about where you're living if you don't have food and water to eat, etc. And then it goes to love and belonging, self-esteem, and then self-actualization, which is the final step and leads to maximum human performance. And Maslow put forward that you need to completely master the one prior before accomplishing the next one. However, this has been proven not to be quite true, because even if you're hungry, you can still do a math problem or learn math problems, or right, there's a whole slew of examples within this that you could use. However, we still use this just because it is a good example of how human beings do require certain things before others if they're going to perform at their peak levels. All right, so first thing I'm going to be talking about is safety and security. So I'm just going to go through a few of these that were important to me in my flight training. So my physiological needs were met. Safety and security were not met. I was a little scared to be in a small airplane for the first time. Turbulence really made me feel uncomfortable. I was really worried about how strong those wing struts on my 152 were. Feeling of being up so high in essentially a Coke can of a vehicle was a little terrifying to me, and really made me question the maintenance and how airplanes are put together. And then also flying at night was a very uncomfortable experience for me. And so I did not feel super safe, and this definitely degraded from my ability to learn maneuvers, ability to even track a heading, keep an altitude, all of those things. But eventually, I got used to it. This is my flight instructor who helped me conquer some of those fears and feel comfortable flying, and really brought me to the next level, skipping over belonging and going straight to self-esteem. So self-esteem, right? I felt comfortable in the airplane now, but I didn't feel like I was performing at the maximum of my ability. So a few things that I worked on during this time was just self-respect for my skills as a pilot. And then this came by maneuver. When I started getting my maneuvers within limitations, I could do a steep turn at plus or minus 100 feet every time. It really increased my confidence. I quit learning something new every flight. There wasn't some new thing that I was learning every time, and it felt like I didn't know anything. Instructors started giving me positive feedback, saying, "Hey man, you're doing a really good job," especially instructors I hadn't flown with before, saying, "Hey man, you really seem like you're coming along well with your training." That was really validating to me. And then lastly, getting a solo in an airplane was the ultimate validation, and really topped off my self-esteem as far as hey, I am a pilot. All right, so the last and final step of Maslow's hierarchy is self-actualization. So this is when you're full performing. Start perfecting maneuvers, getting to do them every time. Getting new licenses. So when I started working on IFR, once I wasn't concerned about these other things, about my self-esteem or being safe, I really just was able to learn in this, you'd say perfect learning environment, and really start to perform, going on cross-country solos by myself for my commercial license, getting my high performance endorsement, going out of my way to go and find a 182 to fly just to learn something new. And then ultimately stepping into check rides, feeling confident and knowledgeable in all the subject areas. And this was my performing. And as I go into my commercial check ride here in a couple weeks, I hope I'm still at this level of self-actualization. All right, and that's the conclusion of my presentation. Here's my reference from the instructor's handbook. Looking forward to seeing y'all's videos and you in the discussion.